Oh, crap. I knew I forgot something. Dang it. All right. Hello, everybody. Forgive me. Okay. Take two. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It's Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for the weekend kickoff, our nice strength and stamina-based bodyweight class to get us going into the weekend. It's also apparently the morning when I forget which lights are supposed to be on and which lights are supposed to be off because, you know, my lighting situation's not that great right now anyway. But at least it's Saturday morning, which means my blinds are open. There's a beautiful, beautiful blue sky out there. The tree is green. It's supposed to snow on Tuesday. Everybody in Colorado is doing that dance around, oh God, is my garden going to make it through the like 50, 60 degree shift in temperature? Hello! Hi! Yes, I have a lot of very sad gardener friends. I am not feeling super sad because thankfully, because I don't have a garden, I have a window box. I can bring that window box inside and then put it back outside when it is no longer 30 degrees. Yeah. But yeah, it is. We have definitely entered winter. It is now winter in Colorado. So expect me to talk a lot about weird and wacky weather shifts because that's what's gonna happen. Hi everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good rest of your evening last night if you were on the stream for Functional Home Fitness. I'm excited to announce that my technological savviness regarding streaming is getting a little bit better because I finally, yesterday was my first time testing out recording the stream directly from Streamlabs as it happens, because I've been having a super irritating thing happen where I don't think I'm going to be able to put Tuesday's Perpetual Motion class VOD on YouTube because every time I try to download it from Twitch, it just won't do it. It won't do it. It'll say it's preparing for like 10 hours and then be like, oh man, we didn't manage to generate a download. And after, 30 hours of trying to get this stupid thing to download, I was like, all right, maybe it's time to cut out that middleman. So, thrilled to announce for the negative one of you who's interested in this, that Streamlabs allows me to record directly while I'm streaming, and it saves it directly on my machine, so I can just edit it from there and not have to worry about dealing with downloading from Twitch at all, which makes me feel a lot better because, yeah, that was irritating. That was real irritating. But, hey! So there you go. There's my technology breakthrough. Slowly but surely figuring out the technology for all this madness. But, hi, friends. I think it's a good time to exercise. Actually use Streamlabs for recording book recommendation videos for work. Yeah, Streamlabs is a solid program, and I'm using the Mac version, which I think used to be a little more unpredictable, off-kilter. But, the updates that they've done recently, I've had great success with just using Streamlabs on my Mac. So, woo! Thank you, Streamlabs, for making this whole process easier. Yay. But you're not here to talk tech. Well, you might be here to talk tech, but you're also here to exercise. So let's get going on that. You saw the nice little... I'm still going to go through the pre-class checklist, although this will probably be the last time. Now that I have it on the slideshow before I start the stream, I feel like I can count on you all to remember what you're supposed to bring to class. But just on the off chance that you didn't log on until I was already going, pre-class checklist. You got your water? I was in a dilemma this morning because I really wanted to keep drinking tea, but also I try not to drink too many fluids too close to class because having to go to the bathroom while you're teaching is no fun. I think it'll be okay. We got our water, we got our comfy clothes, we got our mat set up behind us, and if you're using a fitness wearable, now's the time to turn it on to high intensity interval training. Should do us well. I'm excited about today's class. The structure is going to be a little different, and because I have an idea of something I want to do over the course of the next month, very similar to something that my mentor has done in his classes, and like creating a through line between classes from week to week. And so today, I guess, is me sort of testing that out. Not directly, but just conceptually. Anyway, it's time to exercise, my friends, which means it's time for our warm-up. All right. Ooh, hang on. I can turn off that reminder. I already did that. Thanks, phone. Shoot. Oh my God. No, you don't want to shoot? You just really... Okay, there we go. Anyway, 2 steps forward with technology and about 20 steps back, which is as it should be, I suppose. All right. Let's do our warm-up, my friends. Let's go over here, get on our mats, on our backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. And we're going to start with our hip rocks and bridges as soon as you hear that timer go. Oh, gosh. Big stretch. Okay, there we are. Now we're exercising. Look. Just because you have made it here to class and you're on the mat and you're doing the exercise does not mean that you have to immediately be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as my mother used to say. You can absolutely be lying on your mat, feeling a little bit groggy, feeling a little bit, oh man, this is a bit early for me to be moving. That is totally fine. It will start to even out as we keep moving, but yeah, there's no point in pretending that you're not, relatively close to when you were comfortably ensconced in your bed. All right, switch feet. So, and stretching is great, just that like full body, the way that like little kids will do nice big stretches, or babies will do nice big stretches. Part of it is just sort of comfort, and part of it is just enjoying the feeling of motion in your body. So never underestimate a good just big stretch like that. Ooh, spatial awareness. I haven't talked about that in a while. You see, these things always come back into my head when I am in danger of knocking something over. So that, makes sense, but also try to keep these things in mind all of the time so that you don't fling an arm wildly behind you and knock into something you weren't expecting. Oh man. All right. We're going to roll onto our sides and start our leg sequence, starting with the indomitable Jane Fonda. Here we go. Remember, nice straight line of the body. So we want to make sure that we've engaged the core so that our hips are not in danger of rolling all over the place. We want to make sure that we're engaging the glute on the working leg, not so that we're pulling the leg behind us, because obviously that doesn't keep us in a straight line. But if you're not engaging that glute, then it can be really easy for your leg to sort of drift forwards as you lift it. So just engaging it, just, holding that muscle as you lift the leg helps to keep it in that nice line. It will feel, if this is the first time that you're trying it, it will feel like you're pulling it behind you. It'll feel weird. You'll get used to it, and you'll start to recognize that is correct positioning. But now we've moved on to top foot in front of the bottom knee, lifting our bottom leg. And remember that the aspirational position is knee pointing straight up at the ceiling, okay? How easy that is going to depend on your hip flexibility. So if your knee wants to cave forward like this, you may need to engage the muscles in your hip joint to pull that knee backwards, okay? And this is a great place to start learning how that feels before we're putting any actual pressure on the leg. Like right now, this leg is just sort of chilling here. We're not doing squats or anything, so this is a great time to figure out how to use that musculature to keep that knee in a safe position. But now we've got the front or the top foot behind the bottom knee, still lifting that bottom leg, and we are chilling. You know, this is just, we don't have to worry about rolling around anywhere because this foot is flat back there and it's not in a position that requires a lot of energy to maintain. So you can really focus in on lifting the leg itself, and you still want your core engaged, and I want you to really pay attention to the way that the lower abdominals down towards the pelvic bone on the working leg are also feeling a little bit of engagement, a little bit of movement as you lift that leg. I want you to really take the time to just go, okay, what are the muscle groups that are activating, that are working as I do this exercise, okay? All right, here we go. We are on our other side doing the same 3 exercises again, all right? Starting with Jane. Here we are. All the same form notes apply. You will notice that your working leg right now is probably feeling a little bit of fatigue because this is the 3rd interval in a row that it has been working. It's utilizing different muscles because we're lifting up and away from the midline rather than towards the midline. So a different part of the thigh is being engaged, but it's still being moving a lot. So if you're feeling a little bit of fatigue there, that is totally normal. Hey, and now it's reward. Foot flat on the floor in front of that bottom knee, lifting that bottom leg. So you'll notice that my knee on this side wants to cave forward. I don't have the hip flexibility to sort of naturally set myself in this position with the knee pointing straight up to the ceiling. So I have to really think about engaging the muscles in my hip joint to pull that knee backwards so that it's pointing straight up towards the ceiling or as close as I can get it. Okay? So always remember that we are not symmetrical creatures by any stretch of the imagination. We are real weird, and things that are super easy on one side may be super difficult on the other, and that is totally natural and normal and, you know, something we want to work on, but we need to actually understand what sides have what strengths and what weaknesses before we know what we need to work on. All right, we're on our last leg exercise. Hooray, hooray. After this, we will move into our sequence, warming up our backs and our hips more deliberately. So that will get us up off the floor for some movement. So get your last yawns out now. All right, get your last yawns out right now while we're chilling on the floor, just doing some leg lifts, because very soon we will be moving and standing up and not have time for that anymore. All right, Scorpion twists. Oh, I do enjoy scorpion twists for many reasons, not least of which is the amateur chiropractic adjustment I'm able to give myself when I do this exercise. Remember that your elbows are staying firmly planted on the ground. They are not going anywhere, okay? We want to be able to put our foot flat on the floor and to have our knee pointing up towards the ceiling. But if you can't do that without your elbow coming up, then you can't twist that far yet, okay? So before you do anything else, really commit to having those forearms planted and locked on the ground, and then you will get a better sense of what your actual back flexibility is as you do the exercise, okay? I started standing up before the horn because I can see the timer. It's very dangerous. All right. Oh, torso rotations. Here we are. We're holding our imaginary PVC pipe above our heads. So do not forget about that. Or if you're new to class and you're like, why is she just holding her arms above her head? When I have taught this class in person, I've had small lengths of PVC pipe that are used for this exercise and the next exercise. Just, you know, not as like a weightlifting thing, but just as a good positioning thing, keeping your arms in this nice V above your head. And we're gonna do the same thing here as we go into squats. Our first time through for squats. Huzzah. All right. So now we want to really check in on the knees and that whole caving in thing. We want to make sure that we are not doing that, okay? So I want you to really pay attention to each squat. And if you can't squat down and stand up without your knees trying to go like that, then narrow your stance. Try again. Okay, cool. I can maintain the positioning here. So I'm going to do this exercise in a slightly narrower stance until I build up that strength so that I can then bring my feet further apart again and try it out again, okay? Now we're gonna really sink in to stretching out these hips. Ooh, oh yeah. There we go. So this is the Samson stretch. And we're letting one leg come straight behind us, not bent. A straight leg for this lunge. And then just reaching the arms straight up towards the ceiling. We're not actively trying to bend our backs. There's going to be curve in the back naturally just because of the position, but the arms should come straight up, not I'm trying to dive behind myself. And make sure that your hips are pointing straight forward the whole time, no opening out into like a warrior two or anything like that. Just straight forward, stretching out in front of that hip flexor. And here we go for, we take this nice deep lunge position. This is going to be a relevant position for at least one exercise that we do today. So keep that in mind. We've got our hands on our knees right now, which makes it a lot easier for us to keep our knees safely over our feet and not let them cave in towards the center, okay? You won't always have that as an option, okay? We have several exercises that require you to be able to take this nice wide squat position without your hands on your knees. So you do need to build up that strength to hold that position. But right now, we're going to take advantage of the assist. Just chill, because we're still warming up. We're still booting up our systems We're not here trying to go for maximum speed, maximum power. We are still turning everything on. You know, our brain is going, now that we're doing jumping jacks, our brain is going, ooh, need to finish the boot up sequence for the cardiovascular system, get the heart rate going a little bit faster, get the breath going a little bit faster, make sure the oxygen's really moving more quickly through the body and to the muscle fibers so that they can break down their energy sources and fuel all of this work. So all of that is still taking place. And so we're not over here thinking that we have to be going at 110% because we want to make sure that our body has the opportunity to actually turn on all of these systems. All right, I'm going to be cautious with kick throughs because I've been having some knee twingy things, but I want to talk about form on this one because it's a weird exercise. And if you're new to it or if you're still trying to figure it out, go slowly, okay? No need for the big jump in the center, just, okay, I have kicked the leg across, standing leg, 90 degrees, knee up towards the ceiling. My shoulder is over my wrist, so it's not pushing back too far. And now I come over to the other side. Can I recreate that positioning? Cool. Now I'll come back to the first side, and you can go slowly and confidently before you ever put power or jump into that exercise. Make sure you have the fundamentals down first. All right, here we are at the end of our warm-up road. It ends with burpees, good old burpees. So we jump into this plank and then we do a wave push-up. All right, no plank push-ups here, no matter how much you want to do one right now. We are doing the wave push-up and a nice big victory clap up at the top. Make sure that your elbows are staying in by your sides as you do this push-up, so not letting them fan outward, okay? And again, we're not going for max speed, max power. We're just going for, hey, we're here, we're moving, and we can feel it. All right, woo! Good job, everybody. Well warmed up. Let's get our rest timer going. I wish there was an easier way to switch around between apps in the watch. Well, there probably is. There's probably a simpler way to do that. All right, everybody, back to your water bottles. Make sure you're hydrating. Yes, that means you. Oh, I just realized that I pointed at you with a bent index finger. It's amazing how weird habits from college will just sort of pop back into your brain at odd times. I was in a co-ed fraternity in college, and there was a particular room in the house where you were not supposed to point with an extended finger. If you needed to point at something, you had to point like this. I don't even know why. It's one of those really weird things I'm sure somebody did as a joke like 20 years ago, and then everybody afterwards was like, all right, well, this is just how we do it now. Which, honestly, being in a Greek house, I think is really good training for realizing how shitty institutional memory is throughout our society, where somebody starts doing something and, 5 years down the line, people are like, well, it's always been done this way. This is a tradition. You're cutting to the core of our heritage. And you go, no, actually, that was just something stupid that somebody did one night. Like, it's not a tradition. And even if it has been a tradition for the last 5 years, it wasn't always, and it doesn't always have to be, you know? So it's just a really interesting microcosm of how traditions are built and how then people become really, really militant about the maintenance of those traditions, regardless of whether it's something that's been going on for 2 years or 10 years or 50 years. It's really fascinating. All right, so we are going to start out with toe squats, my friends. It's going to be exciting. We are going to pick a number between 150 and 300, and your goal in about 12-ish minutes is to do that number of toe squats, okay? So we all know toe squats, taking our feet in this nice hip width position, and then as I show you from the side, keeping our backs as straight up and down as possible as we squat all the way down to the floor, letting our heels come up off the ground, and then back up and down and up. So that's the toe squat. And yeah, pick that number between 150 and 300. You can take rests throughout this, okay? But I do want you to do the same number of reps between each rest, okay? So if you did 20 reps before your rest, you're doing 20 reps each time. If you did 50 reps before your rest, you're doing 50 reps each time, all right? There's a lot of honor system going on, but I trust you, okay? So there's not going to be an official timer for this. I'm just going to tell you to get on your mats right now. Get ready, get set, and go. So if you finish really quickly, it's going to take you a while, to be clear. It will likely take you the entirety of the available 12 minutes. But if you finish really quickly, you'll get some extra rest in there. And don't we love extra rest? It's just really nice. It's nice to have something like this too, where you do get to exert some additional control over the process. You know, doing a class like this requires a lot of ceding of control. And, you know, at the point where I take that to its logical conclusion, you know, we have that one interval structure where I'm literally giving you a beat and you are having to do the exercise on my rhythm. That's sort of the extreme end of I am in complete control. Over here, we have the other end of, you know, you get not the entirety of the control because I tell you what exercise to do, but most of the control. You are controlling how many reps you do between your rests, okay? You're controlling how long your rest is, you know? I'm not there in your living room going, okay, well, you've been resting for 3 minutes, so it's time to go again. Or you've been resting for 20 seconds, it's time to go again. You know, you get that control. With great power, however, comes that great responsibility. This is one of the things I like to have these types of structures sprinkled through class because it's important for us to learn how to take control and responsibility for our exercise and for our movement. You know, it's really easy, like being in class can be really nice and comforting because you don't have to make any of those decisions. And that can be really helpful. But there is a component of this process that I am not going to be able to guide you towards or to make happen for you. And that's, you know, continuing to see how you can progress forward. And we're not here being, you know, super goals oriented kind of a thing. But I have talked about how our brains absolutely like to get into these, they like to find how they can do everything that is being asked of them with the least amount of energy, okay? And when we get into those plateaus, a lot of times it's because our brain has figured it out and it's going, all right, cool. Well, I can do this amount of work in this amount of time using this amount of energy. And that's what I'm going to do because I want to make sure that I'm saving energy for when we have to run away from a cheetah, you know? And sometimes we need that. Sometimes we really just need to be able to get on our mats and be like, all right, I just want to prove to myself that I can still do this thing, full stop. And our brain is like, yeah, cool, I'm there for you. But sometimes we're like, I feel like I have potential to do more right now. And I'm really struggling because I don't feel like I am making that headway, you know? And that's one of the choke points where people get really frustrated with their exercise routine, where they get, you know, disillusioned, discouraged, and then maybe they stop, you know, doing their exercise routine, which is always sad. That's not what we want. So, learning how to talk your brain into pushing a little harder is a really critical skill. And it starts as simply as, okay, cool, the teacher is not telling me how many reps I need to do in between each rest. So I need to make that determination for myself. Last time we did this, I did 20 reps between each rest that I took. And, you know, I felt like I did that, you know, like it wasn't easy, but totally doable. So today, I'm gonna see if I can do 25 reps between each rest. You know, and we start having those conversations with ourselves, and that is how we are able to then push ourselves forward and go, oh, cool, I do have this capability that my brain was not fully taking advantage of. And now, by just putting a little more conscious attention towards it, I was able to do this thing that I didn't think that I would be able to do. And that's really cool. So really take advantage of these times when I give you that extra control over the process. Because, you know, my job obviously is to educate and to help cheerlead and, you know, to poke you a little bit when I can tell that you're not putting in as much energy as you have. And that's all really important. Sometimes we really need that external voice. That's why I'm a personal trainer, because sometimes we really need that external voice to help us. You know, it needs to be information that comes from outside of our brain, okay? And that's super important. It's also important for us to do what we can to be that voice for ourselves internally. Not all the time, and you know, coming to class I feel like is a really good midway point for that, where you get the external voice, you get me on your screen, you know, giving you that encouragement, giving you that poke, and you get that external voice and information. But you also have to be motivated internally as well, just to turn the stream on and to get on your mat. You know, I'm not in your living room knowing whether you're here, and neither is anybody else. So take advantage of these types of structures to really sort of dig into that. and think about, do an assessment. As you're here doing your toe squats, do an honest assessment and go, all right, I'm doing 30 reps between each rest, which is, what I've been doing for several weeks now. Am I still doing that because I feel like it's still a struggle and I still, have some improvements to make before I push myself to the next goal? Or am I doing that because I have found this really comfy equilibrium and I am a little afraid to disturb it? And honor yourself whichever answer you give yourself, We're not here to shame ourselves for where we are. We're not here to shame ourselves for having, really taken advantage of having this understanding of how much effort you need to put in to do the work requested of you. That's not what we're here to do. But we are here to remind ourselves that frequently we do have more capacity than we give ourselves credit for, okay? And sometimes we can be the ones to tell ourselves that. Sometimes we really can sort of dig in and be like, okay, no, I can do this. I can do 50 reps before my rest, and then another 50 reps, and then another 50 reps. And sometimes we need that external voice, and that's why I'm here. Oh my goodness, folks, we are so close, so close. We've got just about 2 minutes left on this timer. So, and then we're gonna have our 2-minute rest timer. So if you need a little bit of additional time to really finish, you will have it. You just won't get as much rest, okay? But check in with yourself. How are you doing in terms of your goal number? Are you almost there? Have you already finished? How is your form doing? Is your core still engaged in managing the weight of your torso? Are you still controlling the motion all the way down, or are you sort of dropping into it and bouncing in a way that's going to put unhealthy pressure on your knee? Check in on all of these things, all right, so that you can really make sure that as we head into our last minute and 15 seconds, that you are doing the exercise strongly, confidently, and correctly. Woo! Oh man, this is feeling good today. I do love toe squats. Y'all know that. Y'all know this about me. Just a really solid, intense leg strengthening exercise, and oh man, I mean, it's made a huge difference for me in a lot of the other activities that I like to do. All right, my friends, you've got about 30 seconds left. So I challenge you now to be doing toe squats without stopping for the remainder of these 30 seconds, trying to get those last few in so that you get to that goal number, 150 to 300, whatever number you selected. We've got 10 seconds left. It's really hard to check my watch while also doing this exercise, but we manage. And you're done. Well, assuming you've hit your number, you're done. If you still have a few more to go, that's fine, finish it up. For everyone else, deep breaths, stretching out those quads, and getting some water. All right. So, for the rest of class, we are going to be doing perpetual motion sets. And they will be progressively larger work intervals. But here's the change. We're doing the same 3 exercises each time, okay? So I'm gonna show you 3 exercises, and those are the exercises that you are going to be doing each time. So the only thing that's going to change is the length of the work interval. So this is going to give you a really solid opportunity to see how fatigue changes your ability to maintain form. Okay, it's a really important object lesson. I talk about it a lot, but it can get a little lost when we're switching around exercises all the time. So, you know, I may tend to do one exercise closer to the end of class each time. And so you have this impression that it's always a little bit harder because you're always a little bit more fatigued when you do it. So today we're going to have the same 3 exercises. Obviously we've already done toe squats, so there's a baseline level of fatigue, but we're going to do the same 3 exercises each time, just increasing the work interval. And I really want you to pay attention to how that impacts your ability to do the exercises, how much concentration you need to put on form, and all of that beautiful stuff. Woo, woo, woo. All right, so our 3 exercises. First one is going to be, we're going to take this wide lunge squat position, arms out towards the sides, and then I'm going to turn one knee in. So I've got a nice double-legged lunge, then back to the center and to the other side, back to the center, to the other side, okay? Anyone who did functional home fitness with me, not yesterday, but last week, recognizes that. A new exercise I found online and I was so excited about it. It's gonna be real fun after 12 minutes of toe squats, let me tell you. So, woo. Second exercise is gonna be push-ups. So we can, again, I do not care if you're doing push-ups from the knees or from a plank or planking down, waving back up, or doing a full wave. The most important things, keeping your elbows in by your sides as you go down and come up. So not letting them fan out like that. Really focus on keeping them by your sides. It's gonna put the effort on your triceps, which is what we're going for. And this plank position, shoulders directly over wrists, butts out of the air. Even if you're doing push-ups from the knees, I still maintain that. Shoulders are still directly over wrists, and I still have a mostly straight line from the base of my neck down to my knees, okay? So I'm still maintaining essentially a plank, all right? And then our third exercise, oh yeah, you know what it means. You know what it means when I turn the mat around. We've got shrimps. So we are moving ourselves up and down our mats by first rocking our shoulders, then hips, then shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. Ooh, I've hit the end of my mat. What do? Well, I just start going back in the opposite direction, okay? Oh yeah. All right, so those are our 3 exercises, and you will not need to learn any more exercises for today. Ooh, all right. So get on your mats, and as soon as you hear that timer go, we start with our new exercise, squat to turned in knee, okay? So remember, for perpetual motion, the way that we manage our starting on time is to minimize the amount of time that it takes us to move from the exercise that we are currently doing to the exercise that we need to start doing. So, hey, look at that. That was pretty simple for me. I just took myself right down to the ground, got into that push-up position, and was off. So it will become easier and easier, especially since we're doing the same exercises for the rest of class. So you will be an absolute expert by the end of how do I get from one exercise to the next. Basically, once you're done with this first run and moving into our second run on this timer, you will have that understanding. And then each time it will become a little bit simpler because your brain will have to think about it less and less. All right? So there you go. It's going to be interesting, my friends. We are really used to moving around, switching up those exercises, and we're not going to have that same variety that we usually have. We are really going to be focusing in on these exercises and feeling the difference over time, okay? So by the time we get to needing to maintain them for a full minute at a time, you may have had to make a certain adjustments to how you're performing them. You may have to go much more slowly and deliberately than you were able to go in our first set around. You may have to shift your push-up positioning. You know, maybe right now you're doing push-ups from your knees or from a plank, and maybe on the next one you end up having to do them from your knees, or maybe you end up having to go into a wave push-up rather than a plank push-up. It's going to be fascinating. You know, we're going to really get a sense of how our ability to do an exercise that we know changes over time with increased fatigue, okay? And one of the things that we really want to focus on is being able to maintain the form even as we get more and more tired, okay? So we do not want to be getting more okay with bad form. That is never our goal. You know how much I hammer home the importance of form. It is one of the 3 baseline requirements for the bare minimum is maintaining that form. So whatever you have to do to maintain that form, okay? Whether it's slowing down or whether it's doing a slightly easier for you position on push-ups or what have you, that's what I want you to focus on. And if you are doing all of that and you're still really, really struggling, you know your body, okay? You know your body. You know what it can do. And if you are really, really struggling, then step back for a second, reset, start again, okay? This is a perpetual motion set, and I'm gonna stand by that, and I'm gonna push for that. But, as I've said, I would rather that you give me 5 absolutely form perfect reps on an exercise than give me 55 reps with bad form. Because then not only are you training your body in bad, unhealthy habits form-wise, but you are very likely also setting yourself up for an injury, and we don't want that, okay? Today is going to be challenging. Today is going to be challenging. And I want it to be challenging, you know? Again, today I'm being that external voice that's going, hey, you've got a lot of capability. Let's really put it to the test, okay? But I never want you to lose sight of the fact that of the two of us, you are the one living in your own body, okay? And if you're not going to be able to do the next rep without completely losing the form, then maybe you do need to take a quick step back, reset, try again, okay? So always keep that in mind. I like to remind you of that because it can be really easy to get into that mindset of like, no, push, push, push. Make sure you're drinking water. Okay, my friends, we're going back on the mat. This time, 45-second work intervals. Oh yes, oh yes. And you know your exercises, so as soon as you hear that horn go, we are starting out with this. All right. So, second time around for these 3 exercises. And we're going to be going longer than we did the first time. So, with this first set, check in on how your form feels coming back to these same exercises after a 2-minute rest. Okay? How is it feeling? Where are you feeling a little bit more rejuvenated, able to do the exercise again? Where are you feeling a little more intensity of sensation and, oh wow, my quads are really feeling some things, okay? So check in. This whole first set is for that check-in. It's for you to really dig deep and pay attention to what your body is telling you, okay? That is, if I can impart only one lesson, it is to learn how to pay attention to what your body is telling you, because our bodies are really smart about what they can and can't do. They know what's up. They know what is going to help them, and they know what is potentially going to hurt them. Okay? Our brains sometimes get in the way of that communication. Okay? Particularly when we came up through educational, fitness education that focuses on, no pain, no gain, no excuses mentalities. And we end up with this inability to read the difference between my body going, oh yeah, my muscles are sore because, man, I had a great workout yesterday, and my body going, yeah, that's an injury pain, so maybe we should rest a little bit. They're very different sensations, and we should be able to differentiate between the two. But when we grow up with coaches and teachers that do not acknowledge the human needs and requirements of the body and expect us to just push through whatever we're doing, then sometimes we shut off that line. We shut off that mode of communication, and then we end up really hurting ourselves because we just completely lost track of our ability to differentiate between the pain that means, yeah, I'm really pumping today, and the pain that means, yeah, I'm about to fucking tear my ACL or something like that, We do everybody a disservice by starting that more, competitive mindset super early in our fitness education. We take a lot of the joy of movement out of it. And it's like, look, when you're a kid, you love movement. You go running around like a crazy person just for the heck of it. You spin yourself in circles until you just fall over. And it's awesome and wonderful. And there's so much joy in just what our bodies can do that is wrapped up in that. And as soon as we take that away, we make exercise into more of a chore, and we make it harder for us to actually feel the different signals, pleasure signals, and oh, ow, you're injuring me signals. So if you came up through training in that milieu, if any of this feels really resonant for you, then what I want you to do in these classes is I really want you to focus in on being impressed by what your body can do, being impressed by our capacity for movement, for strength and stamina. And when you start to relearn that joy and that impressed nature, then exercise, even when it is still really intense and hard, will overall become a more enjoyable experience, because you're not over here going, come on, oh, you're so weak, you know, you gotta just push through the pain. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're over here going, holy crap, I'm, 45 minutes through class, 50 minutes through class, and I'm still moving. I am still here, being able to push myself and challenge myself. I'm still able to engage these muscle groups and to do this work. This is incredible. My body's really awesome. And that is just such a healthier attitude for all of this, okay? So that is my charge to you. My charge to you is finding and hanging on to the joy of exercise rather than, the no pain, no gain, like competition approach to exercise. Hello, Ghost Mackin. All right, everybody, it's Rest. Hey, Ghost Mackin, you're new here. We have a zero tolerance policy for coming into chat and being creepy. So, you're right on the line. So just keep in mind that my mods are here and they are raring to boot people out if they come into chat and get creepy. If you're here to exercise, awesome. That's what we're here for. All right, my friends. So this has been really intense, and we've still got one more timer to go, okay? We've got our last perpetual motion timer, 1 minute work intervals, okay? So this is going to be intense. This is what's going to close out class, and then we'll do, I don't have time for a ton of stretches today, but we'll do a little bit because, even after those toe squats, if we don't do that quad stretch, what am I even doing here as an educator? But we're moving into our final timer. So drink your water, stretch out a little bit, breathe, get lots of oxygen going through your system. Your muscles need that oxygen to break down their fuel sources. Make sure that they're still fueled up and ready to go for these last 9 minutes, okay? So we're gonna get up and get back on our mats, and we are going to close out class like the badasses we are. So here we are. Everybody's ready? Ready to go. 1 minute work intervals. As soon as you hear that timer, we are doing our squats with the knee rotation. Here we go. So now we're doing that form check-in, okay? How does this feel? This is our 3rd time doing this set of exercises. And this one is particularly intense because before we got into these sets of exercises, we started out with 12 minutes of toe squats. So how are you feeling here? Checking in on that form, making sure that when you are in the open position, that your knees are still going over your feet and not caving in, okay? How's that feeling? Is that harder to maintain right now? Or do you feel like you're in a pretty good rhythm for it, okay? Here are the things to check in on. Soon we'll be getting into push-ups. So what are the things that we need to check on here? Are your shoulders still over your wrists? Keeping that nice plank position, even if you're doing your push-ups from the knees. Still maintaining that nice plank position, okay? Making sure that your elbows are staying right in by your sides, okay? So how does that feel on your 3rd time through on this longest work interval? Is your core still engaged through these push-ups, or are you feeling a little wobblier? If you are, maybe switch into a wave push-up. That might be the thing to do there. If you're having difficulty maintaining that plank form, even from the knees, it might be time to switch into a wave push-up. And that will help to carry you through with correct form to the end of the timer, okay? So keep all of that in mind as we're going through. With our shrimps, obviously shrimps are one of the more complicated exercises that we have, and so make sure that you're not turning yourself in a circle on your mat. One of the ways that we do that is making sure that we are only letting our hips travel as far as our shoulders can travel, since our shoulders naturally will never be able to get as far along the mat as our hips can. And if we start to try to match that and just let our hips go really far along, our shoulders can't keep up, and that's how we end up turning ourselves in a circle. Oh, all right. 2nd time through, my friends. 2nd time through. 1 minute work intervals. It's no joke. Again, we're really digging down, digging deep, and figuring out how we can maintain the form even as we get tired. Okay, I talk about having the marathon mentality, not the sprint mentality. This is exactly what it is. When you're running a race, you're not getting that variation of activity, right? You are doing the same activity for however many hours you're running. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. So, and you're getting progressively more and more tired because you're using the exact same muscle groups the whole time. So doing this is a good way for us to check in, to train ourselves, to think about, okay, how do I keep doing these exercises correctly with that correct form, even though I'm getting more and more tired? Okay, how do I do that? That is the question that we have to answer to ourselves, whether that means slowing down our reps, whether that means slight modifications to the exercise, what have you. But That's what we're training on today. That's what we're really working on. And you're doing such a great job. This is so intense. We've been doing the same exercise for almost the entire hour. And that is super intense. So I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm really excited to test this out because honestly, it's a good reminder that, you know, even as we are getting really fatigued in a specific muscle set, we can keep doing the exercise. We can hang on to that form, even though it's tougher, even though we have to concentrate a lot more. We can absolutely make it to the end of class, having done just these 3 exercises over and over again, and have our form be just as good on our last rep of each exercise as it was on our first rep of each exercise. So I am so proud of you, and we are getting really close to that end, my friends. We are getting super close to that end. We've got about 20 seconds left right now, and then we will move into our final time through these 3 exercises, okay? So I'm hearing things. Oh man. All right, so here we go. You're shrimping away, but very soon you will hear that horn, and that horn will tell you it's time to get up and to go into our squat to the rotated knee for a final time. For anyone who did not do this with me in functional home fitness, when we do it there, we have weights in our hands, which is super fun. So today we're just focusing on the body weight component of the exercise, recognizing though that it is still a really good, really intense exercise, even if we are not doing it with any additional free weights. But here we go. We are almost to the end of this final set of this exercise. So really check in with your form, with your knees, with your legs. Check in. All right. 1 exercise down and 2 more to go. So we're back to our push-ups. We are focusing on keeping those elbows nice and tight in by the sides, keeping that plank position, or if we feel that we need to do it, we can be doing wave push-ups. Just make sure that you're coming back to this plank position between each one, okay? And then you can do the wave push-up, back down and back up. Whatever feels like the exercise that you can maintain correctly until we hear that horn and we go back to shrimps for that final time. Whew. Check into, and I mean, it's too late to do anything about it, but how long did it take you to move from exercise to exercise this time through? Because that is the other component that we want to try to maintain, is our ability to go from one to the next as quickly as possible. But that will be information for next time. For now, we're just focusing in on our final run of shrimps, moving ourselves up and down the mat, and really enjoying the fact that after a full hour, we're still moving, we're still grooving, we're feeling the intensity, the power of our bodies, and their ability to exercise. Whew. Good job, everybody. Quick drink of water, just because I'm over by my water and I'm really thirsty. Oh yeah. All right. So we're not going to do a ton of stretches, But I want to do two things just because these are the areas that I feel like could really use a little bit of stretching out. So let's stand on our mats. Let our arms swing back and forth gently. We're not trying to fling our arms back. We're just, getting some momentum going and then letting them rock and roll. All right. And now I'm going to take one arm out to the side, bring it across my body, take the opposite arm up to the upper arm just above the elbow, and just pull that arm close in to my chest. Nice stretch along my tricep. Breathe into it. I know your breath may still be coming a little fast from all of that work, so just make sure that you are bringing your breath under control, bringing your heart rate under control. Some nice deep breaths here, and then release the arm, back and forth, back and forth. Let that other arm come up across the body and pull that. Ooh, that's feeling nice and intense right there. Pull that into the chest. And again, just chill here. Nice deep breaths, really bringing the oxygen through to your muscles. Yeah. All right. And now let's just get down on the mat really quickly and stretch out those quads because, they did yeoman's work today and they deserve a little help. So for our quad exercise, or our quad stretch rather, the working leg is bent, folded with the heel on the outside of my hip, and I'm going to pull it in so it's right next to my hip. And then the other leg is just sort of opened out on the floor, foot over by the knee. The most important thing is we're getting into the stretch. Do not let this knee come up from the ground, okay? And we're just going to let ourselves backwards just how far we have to go to feel that really nice stretch along the quad, okay? So if you just come back here onto your hands and you're like, oh, I feel the stretch, that's fine, stay there, okay? Or maybe you get all the way down onto your elbows before you really feel the stretch, or maybe you're able to come all the way down to the floor, okay? Whatever it is, wherever that position is, we're going to take a sec to really just settle into it, settle into the stretch. We want to move slowly into the stretch so that we're not activating and clenching the quad muscle. We want it to be able to stretch without activation, because as soon as we activate the muscle, it tries to contract, and that is not what we're going for when we're stretching. All right, so we are going to do 4 deep breaths, and each time you inhale, I want you to envision the oxygen going right to where the sensation is most intense, and each time you exhale, I want you to see if you can sink a little deeper into the stretch. All right, so here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. Carefully pushing ourselves back up to sitting. It's not graceful. And then don't move this leg under its own power. Take one hand to the knee, one hand to the ankle, and unfold. Let it extend out in front of you. Extend that other leg to meet it. Shake the knees out a little bit, okay? And then we've crunched the ankle in that position, so let's just flex the feet and point, and flex, and point, and circle our ankles first one direction and then the other direction. All right, and now we are going to do the other side. So all the same position and form notes apply, and the same notes about getting into the position. Really do take your time to get into that position. You do not ever want to make that muscle think, oh, it's time to work, I need to clench up, okay? So always when you're getting into any static stretch, move into it slowly so that you're not activating the muscle. All right, so we are now in the stretch position on the other side. We've had a few moments to settle into it, so now let's do our 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. Carefully bringing ourselves back up to seated. One hand to knee, one hand to ankle. Unfolding that leg out in front. Bringing the other leg to meet it. Shake those knees out. Flex the feet. And point. And flex. And point. Circle the ankles first one direction. And then the other direction. And that's it. All right. Good job, everybody. Yay. Awesome class. Awesome way to start a Saturday. I think this may be my favorite class of the week, which is really funny because it requires me to get up earlier on a Saturday than I might normally do, but it's so lovely to start the day here with all of you, to start with a little bit of exercise and really get that energy going for the rest of the weekend. So yay! Make sure you're drinking all that water. Is your water bottle empty or your pint glass empty? At this point, I feel like you'll be disappointed if I do ever wash that water bottle out and start using it again. Or maybe I just need to fake everyone out or go back and forth or something like that. But make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure you get some food after this. Important to start the refueling process because it takes a full 24 hours for your glycogen stores to replenish themselves. And that's assuming that you are eating the appropriate number of carbohydrates to replenish those stores. So make sure that you're eating food, replenishing your energy stores, having fun, relaxing for the rest of your Saturday. Hopefully, not everybody actually gets their weekend on these weekend days, but thank you for starting your day and your weekend out with me. I really love it. I really appreciate it. This is the end of our classes for the week. We will start back up next week with our usual schedule. Tuesdays at 5:45 p.m. Mountain Time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. for Jump Around, our cardio class. Fridays at 6 p.m. for Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using stuff you can find around your house. And then back around again to Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for the weekend kickoff. All these times are mountain times, just in case that wasn't clear. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and my end card will show all of those various handles. All of the VODs from this stream are uploaded to my YouTube channel, Blanche Fitness. So head over there and subscribe because there's going to be, in addition to the VODs, a lot of additional educational and supplementary content that will be really helpful and useful. If you enjoyed yourself and feel financially able to donate to help me keep making these streams, I do have a Coffee account. And donations are always appreciated, never required. And if you had a great time taking class, want to take more class, want to help me keep growing this community, then please do consider following this channel, because we're doing some fun stuff and I can't wait to do more. All right, I think that's the end of the spiel. There. Yep, thank you. Thank you. Mods. Mods are just so wonderful. Love mods. All right, my friends, that is in fact the end of class, the end of today's stream. So thank you for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you again on Tuesday. Have a great day.